We're back with Anno Domini after that extended break in which I got some dinner, which involved chips and a root beer. I don't have any food in my house right now.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Over here.
Yeah, I could do that. I ate lunch there today. That was fun. Anyway, I have eggs. I have eggs here, but I didn't have time to make them, so.
Technically, you did. You just didn't think you would have
I just
time
didn't
to
think
make
I
eggs.
would. Yep, very true. Okay, so let's jump right into it. So the things we have to do is someone could... I mean, yeah, let's start here. So Donan, you wanted to talk to the priest. So you guys wake up. You guys have all rested. He's, you get word from one of the other priests, Donan, that Caden Dunn awoke.
Remind me again the circumstances of how we found him.
He was in a pit. He was in
Sorry.
He was in a pit in the sewers, all bloody, bruised, and unconscious, and captured a prisoner, obviously, who had been kind of like tortured or whatever.
And we didn't have any idea how he got there, did we?
No.
Okay.
But yeah, so that happened. You guys brought him back. Sounds like he woke up. Marmaduke or Ulrich or Lisig, do you want to also go there, or do you not care as much?
What are you talking about?
I kind of want Donan to go all bad cop on him, so...
The priest
He's a
woke
good
up
cop.
that you rescued, and Donan wanted to get information out of him about the undead apocalypse, which is what he was researching.
Or no,
I mean,
Donan would make a better good cop.
Probably go along just for curiosity's sake.
Same.
Ulrich, you
To
go.
be honest, I still don't remember this priest, dude. I don't think we.
He was the
recapped
guy
him.
we.
The whole reason we went into the sewers,
It was to find him because he
when
went.
Lefwin gave his life so we could find this guy and also acquire a rat
Okay.
chef. And
Gotcha.
A worthy sacrifice.
a
Oh,
worthy
such a worthy
sacrifice
Because
indeed.
he had 4 HP, but
4 HP. You lose 4 HP, you gain a rat chef. And also a priest guy.
We still
Oh,
have
yeah,
the rat
that-
chef in our party.
It's the best trade deal in the history of trade deals, maybe ever.
Yeah, the rat guy's still with us.
The
right?
rat guy is around here somewhere, yeah, in the shrine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could I make another insight check on him? Because you had me make one
Yeah, sure.
when we first saw him. Okay. 18.
Yeah, okay, something's starting to come back to you, Lisig. So, you look at this guy, and before you were like, okay, something's familiar about this guy, and you weren't sure what that meant exactly. But it's mostly his voice. He reminds you of someone, and it's still really hard to place. But you could swear that he reminds me of a guy named Urlo that you knew in the city. He was like a thief, like a halfling thief contact.
Okay.
His name was Urlo Labale. He really reminds you of this guy, but he's also a rat person, so you're just very confused. And he's like a foot and a half taller than Urlo is.
when you go into the dark room and you get bit by something and you're like, yes, I turned into a werewolf, and then you become a were-rat and everything is bad.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, the question is, does Lisa know about were-rats, and would she... You could make a roll to
What
determine
kind of roll
that.
would that be?
History or Arcana would work.
Okay. I'm way better at Arcana.
Yeah, because if... Okay, yeah, a 7 is not going to cut it. Yeah, you're not sure why this guy reminds you of your friend Urlo.
How do you
He was
spell?
just a really ugly guy. I don't know, you know.
That except with an L at the end instead of a K.
Okay.
Urlo Labale.
Urko is his brother. He's really annoying. He irks you.
I drank that root beer way too fast.
Oh no.
Sugar.
Yes.
Drink responsibly, kid.
Let the
Oh,
sugar
my.
flow through you.
It's also cold down here, so I'm just shivering.
You need
Do
a blanket.
You not have a
Send one to
you.
thermostat?
So yeah, Lisik, that's what you're like, this guy reminds me of this guy.
Okay.
But do you do anything about it, or?
No. I think she's just kind of mulling it over in her head.
Sure. Okay, so you guys go to talk to the priest. Donan, you walk in, flanked by Marmaduke and Lisig and Ulrich. Were you going to be there too? Ulrich? Connor?
Sorry, I was muted.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, I'll
Okay.
be there.
Yep, so everybody goes. Erastus is off, Barry and Leftwood.
I'd come, but I'm talking to the last boss, so sorry.
The last boss?
The
No,
BBEG.
that's Oberon.
I mean, that's true. He's the last boss in one of the quest lines.
Yes, very true. On the current quest line you're on, he is the last boss. Technically, Oberon was already the last boss. He was just in Marmaduke's body of the last
right.
quest that you were on.
That's
Oh
fair.
yeah.
That was his dumbed down mode so that we could win at low level.
Exactly, right? Yeah.
It's funny how
standard
bosses
stuff.
do that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to test the adventurers without actually killing them. So I'm going to nerf myself.
Meet the main bad guy, but you're level 1, so he's got a bear trap on his leg.
And he can still fight you off with just the bear trapped leg as a weapon.
But he can't pass a charisma saving throw. So
Well, that's good. Now we know the boss's dump stat. How can we exploit
it's
this?
true.
I
You
mean,
just have to get a
yeah.
bard because their charisma saving throw is really sick. So
I could
Okay,
multi-class into Bard,
No, Donan, nobody needs that. Nobody needs that, Donan.
bar
if-
songs, and
If anyone was to multi-class into Bard in this party, it would be Erastus.
I mean, well, hold on though, because he's a storm cleric, which means he kills the thunder and the lightning, and he can like drop the bass from the sky. And
oh yeah,
you can do dubstep with the clouds.
Oh boy.
oh yeah. I
Anyway,
can see it.
Donan McCloudpants steps into the room with the priest.
Well, my timer for my pizza's about to go off, so I'll drop the thunder and the lightning on him.
And he just leave. All right.
That's the name of your fists, right? Thunder and lightning.
No.
No, Texas and Smash.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think he's just going to open with the obvious question. What were you doing in the sewers?
Okay. Yeah.
I was
so,
following you guys.
Yeah. So
What?
when you walk into the room, the guy is like kind of staring ahead blankly. And so you ask him that. You walk up and ask him that, and he looks at you and seems to recognize that someone said something, but he just stares at you.
Oh, good. Great.
Well, that's not good. Trying to remember now what all I've got for abilities and what kind of checks or things I can do to find out if he's actually still in there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, first you could make a medicine check. That's the thing you could do.
What are you? Oh,
Oh, I'm just sorry. I was
stop
opening up
changing my
stuff.
tabs.
I want to look at your spells.
Yeah. Whoops. I don't want to cast a copy of myself. Yeah, I think Donan's going to make a medicine check. What is the extent of his injuries, and are they like could brain damage be associated with the injuries he's
Yeah.
sustained?
Mm-hmm.
What do I need to get a clear diagnosis on that, or is it just stayed like?
With this and yeah, it'd probably be like let's say 17. Okay, so yeah, I mean, you look him over and nothing. Well, okay, so a couple of things you know, right? The priest used healing magic on him when you brought him back. So, in any normal case of brain damage, right, that would be healed, right, by magical healing. So your guess is it's something pseudo-magical at the very least, but that's as far as it goes for your thought there.
Ooh. Okay. Now this gets interesting. Ulrich, are you with us?
I am with you, I believe.
What do you know about mind-altering spells?
Arcana check.
Do an
Yeah.
Arcana check on the guy.
You don't have to just come up with something, Connor. You can actually roll for your character.
Right, I legitimately didn't realize that for a second. I was like,
I know.
Crap, man, I have no idea.
Really, Connor, you forgot all of those times you studied in real life magic effects.
Yeah, wait, hold up. Nope, I just remembered, guys.
Gotta
what do I
dig out
know?
your college textbook.
15, that's not terrible.
Okay, I mean, you can think of
Yeah,
several things
college
off the top of your
textbook.
head that could do this, Ulrich. I mean, curses are certainly the first thing that comes to mind, right?
Turn someone into a rat.
Yeah. So like a curse or it's possible maybe this is like a feeble mind or something. That's kind of like semi-permanent until you get like
Okay.
a specific spell like to. So your guess, Ulrich, you're unsure with that 15. You're unsure of what specifics are, but your guess is if you could get a cleric of high enough level that could cast like whatever the like upgraded version of, like I think it's like greater restoration or something like that, or maybe remove curse. One of those might work.
Okay.
Well, that's distinctly unhelpful. We went all
Yeah.
that length to rescue you, and you have the gratitude to be cursed?
Well, if we were gonna find greater restoration anywhere, it would be in with priests.
True.
Are those the priests singing in the background?
Yeah.
Definitely sounds like Gregorian chant.
Yep.
I mean, I could try casting inflict wounds.
What?
Yep. That'll make him
There
feel
you
better.
go.
Um,
That's all you need.
Well, could I? Remind me again what the difference is between insight and perception.
Insight is for people, like their emotions. Perception is like if someone's sneaking up on you.
Okay. And then what would I want to roll if I wanted to sit and ponder something about a person's actions, or like basically I'm sure if I want to try to figure out
Yeah, what's your
from
intent?
what
you
I
have,
know of this guy and where we found him, and just
Right.
like, is there a way I can?
Intelligence check, just base.
There's an
Yeah.
investigation skill
Right.
for like if you have clues and you're trying to.
Oh
put
yeah,
things
yeah. Make an
together.
investigation check. That's based on
All
intelligence
right.
anyway.
All right. Can make an investigation check. I just want to see how much of his story I can piece together, and if I can glean any new insights, new ideas of leads and stuff to take based on what I know so far of the
Yeah.
story
Mhm.
that we have of him, the state that he's in, that kind of thing. Who might
Mhm.
be capable of casting such a spell? Who might want to cast such a spell on him? That kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Sure. Whoa! There you go. Natural 20.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, so Donan, the immediate thing that comes to mind is, oh no, I have a book. And you remember that when you went to Qualniasin's Tower, you picked up a book on magical healing. And you remember a part of it that you read where it was like the exact like symptoms as you kind of like studied this guy. And it's like a specific effect that happens like when you're around undead for too long, or like it was something had to do with like death or necromantic energy, negative energy, that sort of thing, and it caused like some sort of feeble mind effect. But with the book, if you manage to like go look that chapter up again, you might be able to figure out. I think it was like some sort of like potion that had to be made to fix it. But yeah, you're like, I have a book. I literally have the book for this.
All
So
right.
he's the coroner from Psych.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Reference. I wish I did, but I can't seem to make myself sit through enough episodes of Psych.
So I assume that you pull open the book then?
Donan does that thing where he sits and thinks for a bit,
Mhm.
and he goes, "Oh!" and kind of jumps, and everybody jumps with him.
Right.
And then he just goes running off, mumbling something about books and study and library and leaves everybody sitting around wondering where he's gone, and he'll be gone for a couple of minutes as he tries to get the book.
Yeah,
If
Ulrich,
anybody else has
Marmaduke,
a-
Leasig, what do you guys do, like, in reaction to that?
What happened?
Donan was, like, sitting there thinking about, like, the guy's symptoms, and you're trying to figure out, like, why he was, like, feeble-minded and couldn't talk or whatever. And then suddenly he just goes, "Oh!" and then just runs off mumbling something about a book.
Well, he's gone. I want to do dispel magic and see if I can fix him before he gets back.
You have the spell Dispel Magic.
Yeah, I got it this level.
Nice. Okay, let's double check to see what that does.
Nice.
Choose one creature, object, or magical effect within range. Any spell of 3rd level or lower on the target ends. Unfortunately... Oh, for each spell of 4th level or higher on the target, make an ability check using your spellcasting ability. Okay, yeah, you can make an ability check.
Yay. So do I just hit dispel magic?
No. So make a... your spellcasting ability is charisma. Make a charisma check. The DC is 16. Oh, there you go. So Donan runs off mumbling about this book, and he's like, "Yes, I've just solved it." And then Donan, you come back, a couple minutes later, and Marmaduke, what are you discussing with the priest when he comes back?
I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't paying attention. I pulled a Connor. What are we doing?
Oh, shots fired!
I'm not even offended.
Marmaduke, I was just assuming you guys would have like some dumb conversation that didn't matter.
Okay, I'm talking about my orange wand.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, this is a matter of the utmost.
Yeah.
Forget about the plague. Forget about the zombies.
All right.
This is a life and death.
Yes.
Have you seen an orange glowing wand in any of your travels?
Let's make a roll for this guy. Let's see if he has. Nope.
Damn.
Yeah, so he
Can
shakes
I
his
give him a
head.
luck point?
No. He shakes his head slowly and then says, "No, I have not come across anything like that in my travels."
If ever you do, here's my contact information. I give him a business card.
This just has a crab symbol on it.
Exactly.
Is the crab on a beach?
And it's dancing.
And
It's like one of those holographic cards that you like turn and then the crab's like dancing.
I love it. I love it.
It's magic. Whatever. Sure.
Holograms aren't magic.
Science.
They're just lenticular. Like it's
All right,
facets
Donan.
based on a way Donan comes running back into the room at about that moment.
Yeah.
I've got it, and it's gonna take about 3 days to percolate, and I'm gonna need a little bit of. He spouts off some herbs and stuff, and he's like, and I need you, Leasig, to go find all of that. And Ulrich, I need you to go back to Quell's Tower and get me a distilling set, because they don't have one here that's nearly clean enough.
And then Caden Dunn looks at Marmaduke and then says, "What is he going on about?"
I have no idea.
Oh, I'm just trying to save you from the enfeebled mind that you had on. Don't worry, it'll be just a... Wait a minute! Alright, does someone want to explain what just happened?
I fixed him.
Yes, your friend here seems
You
to have
could have told me when I spent 10 minutes sitting there thinking about it!
Not gonna lie, I wasn't paying attention. I was thinking of how best to serve my master. I was just in the background casting on all of his torn clothes because that was the other spell I learned.
Perfect. Yeah, so that all happens, and then we get down to brass tacks, and you can ask the priest information or questions about
Alright.
everything.
So, where were you in the night of... What were you doing in the sewers?
Right, yeah. He says, "Well, I was searching for more information on all the undead that had been rolling around here, looking for trouble. And I thought that if I went down into the lower, dirtier parts of the city, that I could find out more. Well, I stumbled across a shrine that I think was to some god of death long forgotten. And then things started to get weird. I don't really remember much after that. But maybe something about a woman and a man with a pipe. Yeah, something like that. My mind was going at that point, even still.
Donan, I think, would press him for details on the woman to confirm it was the one that we killed.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
did kill her, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. He gives you the details, and he's like, and she had the sharpest, nastiest teeth. And you're like, yeah, that's our vampire lady. Yeah, so he says that, and then he seems to be like thinking more about it, and he's like, well, as you press him for details, and he says, well, I got to that shrine, and I was trying to, well, I figured that the god of death would know something about all of this undead going around, so I tried to commune with him. Well, there was something...
Always a pleasant time, that.
Yes. There was something odd about that. There was an absence, maybe, as if the person I was trying to reach was gone. I don't know. You know anything about that?
They probably died.
Absence.
Player Carly does.
Like,
It means there's a job opening.
as in when you're reaching out and there's nothing there, or as in you're reaching out and they're not listening because they're busy elsewhere?
No, not quite that. So I've tried to commune with other gods before, and sometimes I learned something in the past that if you have the right name, then you can commune with the god more effectively. But sometimes the gods change names, as they do. And if you have the right name, you can communicate with them more effectively. But if you don't have the right name, it's like you're trying to speak to them through a very thick sheet of glass. You can't quite hear them, but they're saying something. You get impressions more than anything, facial expressions, but not in the way of words. Well, this didn't feel anything like that. It felt more like I was looking through the pane of glass and I only saw my own reflection.
That's no good. I don't. Have you encountered this ever before?
Not that I can remember, no.
How much did we know about the god of the forest and his absence, and that when Pongrabon came and replaced him? How much of that process sounds familiar to this? Is that something that Donan would draw a connection to? There be that absence, or was Donan not in tune enough at the time?
I don't know. I mean, you could make a logic or an educated guess that it's possible
How much of that did I know? Because I know I learned some of it. But I
Yeah,
don't, how much
do you
did
want
I
to
know?
have arrived at this point, Erastus?
Yeah, because somebody missed something
Sure.
about an old man with a pipe. But
Yeah, so right, yeah, so maybe you get there as they're kind of like trying to sort through that whole thing, and Erastus, you remember that whole conversation that you had with the pixie, right, where she was trying to lie to you in that
Right.
game, and she let slip that gods can die, and then there was other
Right.
stuff that you learned. I can't remember. I think it was in Quell's Tower or something. Yes, I think
Yeah,
it
I'm
was in Quell's
struggling a
Tower.
little to remember the specifics of the things I know and the things that I know as a player.
Yeah. It was Donan actually that found this out, but you told everybody else. It was basically that it was the whole thing about the names, right? Like it's entirely possible that all the gods that we know so the one thing you guys learned is there are aspects, right? There are slots. So the god of war, the god of whatever, right? But there can only be one person that holds that position at any one time. And when gods die, the name that they went by becomes still a channel that you can use to get the power. So a cleric could continue being a cleric of that god for forever.
Yeah,
But
so like they have the
it
same
would be
extension, but you're asking for a different person.
Yes,
Right.
exactly. And so like the Caden Dunn just explained it, right? It's like you can't really you can only get impressions, not words anymore.
Right. But this one's dead, presumably, or gone. to some
Yes,
degree.
exactly. And
Right.
Erastus, you know what that's like. Not to try to commune with a dead god, but to try to commune with a.
Well, I mean, technically,
yes,
I know that too, but I didn't know they were dead.
but as in like no one at all is holding
Right.
power.
Yeah. Okay.
And so yeah, you can probably put that together pretty easily.
Okay. So what's
Um,
the actual conversation at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, they were just going through the details of like how he felt about the whole thing, and he was like, I think this has something to do with the undead, right? Like if no, and he's like, if no one's there, if I'm trying to contact the god of death and nobody's there, well, maybe there's no one to keep these monstrosities from rising.
Ooh. Now you're onto something.
You're saying the god of death is dead? Seems ironic.
When you
he
say
might
it
not
like
be.
that, it sounds sort of silly, doesn't it?
Hey, you're just gonna be walking around one day, and all of a sudden out of the forest comes this big hulking god of death, shambling along, looking to eat some brains.
Now, do I know that Ponkerbon took the place of another god, right? I know that too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We discussed
Okay.
all this in Quell's Tower, yes.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. So I just shrug and I'm like, maybe it's like when Ponkerbon took over, except this time no one took his spot.
Well, I have some suspicions as to who might want it.
I slowly turn to Connor. Hey, Master.
Oh
may
no.
I?
Are you asking permission to become the god of death? I don't.
Yes.
He would. He would. Marmaduke, do you really want to be tied down to a job where you're keeping in the undead on the other side of them gates and sitting at a desk every day,
Sitting at a
Making
desk
note-
every day.
making note of everyone's good and bad and where they ought to go in the afterlife?
Oh
Well,
no, I
Does
think
that sound like
I
the
think
kind of
that's
life you want to live?
the priest
Death
says.
you want to die?
The priest says, no, I think that's Santa Claus. They're getting them mixed up.
Well, it would be preferable to my old master getting it.
Yeah, and then
Old master? Do we remember who's his old master, or did he never say that before?
Oswin Gage. Yeah. He
Yeah.
knows. You guys know.
Oh yeah, okay.
The evil
Yeah,
guy.
I thought it
Connor,
was him.
Connor made me spill the beans.
Yeah. Marmaduke was
Oh, yeah.
experimented on by Oswin Gage, and that's why he has the weird hand that gives people curses and stuff.
Poor guy.
Sorry, I gotta write something down here before I forget.
Hold up, though. Is this a serious question that you're going to become the god of death?
Knowing Jared, he's gonna try.
And do we know what it takes to become the god of death?
You know a little bit about it. Donan looked that up, right? It takes ascension takes power, right? An incredibly
that
large
much.
amount of power. I mean,
So,
you know
like
Like
a
a
how
whole
asking
village is worth, like a whole village is worth
children.
of children's life force kind of
Exactly.
power,
Oh, that's not a whole lot.
Yeah,
or like
it's
a
only
whole city of
Well,
Nottingham
Yeah.
concentrated
just
into
lost.
small spaces because of fear of an undead plague.
Do undead have energy?
Marmaduke, make an Arcana check. Yes, but they have death energy.
That's exactly what we need.
Do you need life aspected energy or death aspected energy to descend to become?
I got a
ascend
20.
to be the god of death.
From Marmaduke's assessment, probably either.
Oh my gosh. I'm changing my goals.
Oh no!
Hey,
If you're gonna
Master,
level that fast, we can't keep up with you, dude.
may I become the god of death instead of my evil master?
I don't know how to answer that question.
Oh, you think? Oh, I didn't even think about Oswin being the one wanting that slot.
Well, he said
was
a man
thinking-
with a pipe, so I just assumed.
How would you know?
Because I spent years with him.
Because you spent years being
Yeah.
experimented on by a sadistic man with a
Always
pipe.
had a
But of
pipe.
course,
Evil pipe.
does that
So I
ring a
think-
bell,
so,
Erastus?
So Caden, real quick, Caden Dunn looks at Marmaduke real quick, and he's like, you do know that a lot of wizards smoke from pipes. lad."
I know, but evil ones. And I mean,
Oh, he's
What
right.
are
You know,
the
that's
odds?
their motif.
Yeah, even the
You
fellow
got to
with
be the
hat.
guy in the cape with the hat and the pipe.
The only two powerful enough around here. One's good, one's evil.
Technically, there are 5 great wizards of England, lad.
Oh,
I push my
forgot
thumb
about
out
that.
towards the back, and I'm like, even the guy out back who cast that death spell on me had a pipe. Seems like it's just a common thing.
Yeah, what?
Okay, I I just turned like stark white.
And you were gonna mention this when exactly?
Well, I mean, nothing happened, so I wasn't going to, but now it seems like it's come up.
Master,
Drugs.
permission to go.
Magic was slung around in the
Well, to be fair, I said
the sacred burial ground of the. And you're not gonna mention it.
well, look,
Do you have any idea how long it takes to clean up that kind of stuff?
for some reason he knew my
Do you have
name.
any idea how many times I had to do that as a student?
But what you're telling me is that it won't take you very long. You have a
He's
handle
right,
on it?
though. He's right, though. Magic messes up the hollow spell, something fierce, especially a deafness spell. Oh, man. All
Did I
sorts of
detect
weird eldritch
that area
energies.
was hollowed when I used
No.
my? No. I shake my head and I'm like, "What hollow effect? It wasn't hollow."
Oh. Well, that would make sense.
You let it slip? What are you? There's no one around here religious anymore.
I mean, most of them are undead.
Caden
so...
raises his hand.
Well, I'm a believer in science, so.
Also, we established that.
And what you're saying it, so you're setting up a false dichotomy between an order-given, creative, constructive series of forces
Real
and an
quick-
ordered, constructed system, and you're saying that they cannot one flow from another. You're taking away the whole root of the system, and there's no foundation to build it upon. You cannot just have science without the presupposition of order.
Yeah, so Caden Dunn says any
Intelligent.
sufficiently advanced magic is indistinguishable from science.
I love that.
Yeah, so at
Also-
any rate, what are we up to now? What's going on? Sorry, I feel like I missed something.
Yeah, Marmaduke, you were going to say something to Ulrich, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Ulrich, may I go kill my old master, please?
I don't.
There was an old man. He had like a sackcloth on and a pipe, and he cast this one spell. In fact, he couldn't even match my zone of truth. So somehow, I doubt he's. I did see something strange about knowing my name and his rival, whatever. Anyways, I highly doubt it's that this all-powerful wizard walked around and asked to look at a dead corpse and then walked away when I said no. Seems unlikely.
What kind of role could Lisig make to put all this together? Would that be?
It'd be like an investigation check, yeah.
As I said,
Yeah.
I cast a simple spell on him to force him to tell the truth, and he failed utterly. So, not likely a grand wizard.
Yeah, I think Lisig, you being in the background and then like just putting all this together, you figured it out.
Okay.
Do you just speak up or do you keep it to yourself?
I feel like she keeps it to herself for now.
Of
Because if
course.
everyone else doesn't think it's him, then she can sneak off and try to see if he has the weapon and everything. So
That's true. That's fair.
that's her line of thought.
What grand wizard do you know that would dress up like a beggar? Well, I guess it was a minor.
Well, mine.
Yeah, that sounds pretty in character for Oswin.
He does that. What did he-
Well, that's troubling.
Does he dress up as a beggar in alleyways and then lure rich people off to give him alms only to take them hostage and drain their
Yeah,
life
that's-
force for his magical
Well,
experiments?
that's how he
Oh,
got
well.
me.
I was going to say that's us until the end part.
You can't just equate the two. We're doing it for the right reasons, and he's not. Therefore, what we're doing is fine.
Well,
we
it's
did.
true. But,
We're not doing it now.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. Anyways, do we have any leads besides the fact that he's probably long gone by now and chasing him would be no good?
How deep did you bury the body?
6 feet? I mean,
I mean, if
close
you wanted the
approximation is
body, he probably took the body the second you left.
Well, I mean, I had to fill in the hole, so I was
mean,
out there for a while.
He
Actually,
has magic. It's much easier to unbury a hole with magic than digging a hole with your shovel.
I don't think it is, but
It depends on what spell you have, but yeah.
he just shrugs.
Shape Earth would help tremendously.
Yeah, I suppose there's that.
Shape Earth's not really a dead aspected spell, but it would be incredibly useful for a necromancer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, hang on. I got another stupid idea to add to my stupid ideas, my RPG stupid idea list.
Perfect.
Regardless, I'm sure he's nowhere near here anymore. So, has the priest had anything useful to say?
Yeah, the god of death is dead, and my new master's trying to become the god of death.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
I don't think we really established, Caden says, that Oswin Gage, whoever that, one of the 5 great wizards of England, wants to become the god of death, exactly. Last time I checked, wizards weren't very particularly interested in becoming gods.
He did say Grov.
Do you know a certain someone who has his eye on it and has tried it in the past and got thwarted by a cat? So...
You do. That is an oddly specific set of circumstances.
Aye, now there's a story for you. Oberon, the king of the Fae.
Ah, yes, I know of him.
Working as hard as he can to achieve ascension.
Oh.
We interrupted his last ascension ritual trying to take over this god of the forests. And a cat got caught in the mix or something, and now we've got a cat as the god of the forests.
I could think of worse.
I won't claim to be an expert, but I'm not sure undead is quite the Fae's playbook. It doesn't seem like Oberon.
Oh, but it
Not
would
his-
be Oswin's. And
Yes.
if Oswin... Now, wait a second. Something's coming back to me, lad. I seem to remember a conversation as I was coming in and out of lucidity in that pit there for weeks. But I remember a single moment.
What? How didn't he start?
They create food and water. It's a spell. Look it up.
Don't ask
I
questions
thought
you don't
were
want to
in and
know
out
the
of
answer to.
consciousness.
They used it. I don't know. I was still alive after I don't
Oh,
know how long
stars.
it was. I was feeble-minded. How did I even know this?
Just kidding.
But the one moment of lucidity that I do remember is when Constance, I think that's what her name was, that lady with the fangs, she had a visitor. And I think it was this Oswin Gage fellow you guys are talking about. Older folk with a pipe, miner's outfit.
Sounds familiar.
Well, I remember they were having a conversation, and I only heard a very short snippet of it. But they did mention something about the Fae. I
That's a
don't
wonderful sign.
remember what exactly the context was. Something about maybe Fae can turn 2? Something like that? Maybe Fae can turn 2. I think that's what they said. And then I was
They
back into the
trying
feeling.
to make undead of the Fae? That seems strange.
I don't know.
Are Fae alive in the way that we know alive to
Oh
be?
yes, absolutely. They are the most alive thing ever because
Okay.
they're in the Feywild, which is made up entirely of life energy.
So let's see. That would mean that the god of death position would be entirely aspected against anything and everything Oberon. Pretty anathema to him. But can you imagine an army of the most undead you've ever seen? Like the most dead undead you've ever seen? Like
What?
just bones.
Say
Bones
no.
everywhere. No movement. No life, just bones.
I suppose it makes sense that an excess of life energy would
Be
make a
worthless.
more powerful. You know, if you change that to death energy, there'd be more of it. I suppose.
I don't really know how that works or even what you're
Well,
really
me either.
talking about at this point, but I thought that snippet of conversation was interesting.
Well, regardless, it sounds like it's probably a bad thing. So you know, good
What
deal all
kind
around. I
of
suppose.
power would it take to turn the Lord of the Fae undead? Like God of Death levels of power? Because maybe that's been Osmond's
I mean, he'd just have to get some
intention this
ones
whole
on his
time.
card rolls.
Well,
Just
I
to turn the god
imagine
of-
for something like that to happen, maybe the Fey Lord would have to die first.
You're probably not wrong. You're probably not wrong. So, alright, how much do we know now that we didn't before? We know there's a vacancy again in the Pantheon. Do we know what caused the first one?
Caden looks
First
around
caused
like
the what? First, what caused the first what?
The first
vacancy.
vacancy.
The god of
Is
the
that
forest.
something? Do I have any way of like communing with Ponderban? Can I pray to Ponderban? I assume
yeah, of
in
course.
some way. Can I commune with him and see if I can ask him about the circumstances of his ascension?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, make
Oh,
make a religion
Ponderbon.
check.
Okay, I only have like a -1 to this. So.
You get a busy signal.
meow 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 meow.
Yeah, you get a
Leave
busy
a message
signal.
after the meow.
So yeah, he just shakes his head. He says, "I'm having trouble getting through to Ponderban, and unfortunately, I don't think he'll be able to tell us."
Well, that's distinctly unhelpful.
Yes, I agree.
Cats tend to be that way.
Aye, that's why they're so endearing.
I know. I once had a cat that was constantly unfaithful to me. Just went and had so many
Sorry,
litters of
What was
kittens.
that?
And it no, don't get your head in the twist.
Just shakes his head.
No, she just kept having litters of kittens, and I had to give all of them away. It took forever.
Guess I'm sure that was quite a burden.
I assumed
know-
you'd be more helpful than this.
He just shrugs. Honestly, my brain's still a little rattled, I think.
So we're uncovering a lot of important information here, and you gotta be on top of your game so we can all ingest it together, and pay no attention and not at all worry about the trauma and the suffering and the pain you just went through, the magical healing and all of that draining stuff. You gotta throw all that away, and we gotta be on top of our game here.
All right, well,
If you want to take a nap, you could go ahead. And
I
take
was
a
just
nap.
going to say, I think that would help.
I have an elixir of health, but that doesn't actually work on anything except illnesses.
I can
Is that
cure
what-
illnesses for free, so
I think we should retire to the library, or some place that's good for quiet but intense discussion of deep theological, teleological? No, not teleological. What's the metaphysical?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, so what do you guys want to figure out exactly beyond that? Are you doing a research role here? Is that what's happening? Or are you just
Yeah,
continuing
sure.
to talk about it?
I mean, I think it would be worth doing some proper. Now that we have all this framework, let's find some ideas and fill it in. Research.
Yeah, what's the intent exactly with that role then? What do you want to know?
Hmm.
Is that Arcana?
Probably, yeah.
Religion?
I mean, there's a handful of things that I would like answers to. I want to rule out the possibility that Oberon would
My
dive
bad.
for this slot.
My bad.
Whoops.
Yeah, we can ignore that one, yeah.
I want to rule out the possibility that Oberon would go after this slot. Because if we have one less Ascendant want to be to deal with, I mean, I guess we've got the one that we know about who wants to be an Ascendant and wants to ascend. So ideally we would confirm or rule out the possibility of him taking that slot in the first place.
Yeah.
So that we could know kind of where our decisions and questions need to go next. After that, probably questions about. Honestly, I'm interested in Osmond Gage's relationships with the other four great wizards of England. I want to know if he's got some kind of a one-upsmanship rivalry going with them that might lead him to do something as crazy as becoming the god of death?
Like he does with Connor's guy.
Is it to that extent that he would?
Well, Caleb's gone.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm speculating here.
But yeah,
in
I'm
hopes
pretty
of
sure
maybe
he
getting
does.
some of these answers.
Yeah.
Because is his relationship with Quell that much of a one-upsmanship competition that the becoming of the god of death is the solution? That he wins the competition, kind of a deal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Who else might possibly be interested in that spot?
That sounds like
That
a
would
history
be-
check to me.
Right.
So you guys can look at your modifiers and see who would be the best person to make that check, and then you can make it with advantage because everybody's researching stuff.
I have
got a-
4, but I have a perk that even if I fail, I know where the answer would be.
Yeah.
I like that.
So Marmaduke's making the roll then?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's how we got the curse situation there, where it was like, Oswin would know.
So history?
Yep, with advantage. Okay, 16, not bad. So, I don't think you can immediately rule out that Oberon would be interested in this. There would obviously be a few steps because it's the god of death. You think you're not entirely sure enough on the metaphysics to know whether or not it actually would be a problem for Oberon to want to be the god of death, or not. But it's a good guess, you think. As for like other ascendants or anything like that, it really depends. I think mainly you think, Marmaduke, on where this other god of death died. Like where in the world they died, because the gods immediately around that, right? Like if we're thinking about gods in terms of like a progressive pantheon that kind of changes location, right, as gods die and then get reborn in different areas under different names, then it's entirely possible there's another part of the world that has some gods that are currently doing some things, and one of them died, and maybe the other ones are going to vie to get one of their followers or something up there. Like that's a possibility that definitely comes to your mind. So as for how Oberon knows about vacancies, you're not sure, but you get the general sense that it's not necessarily okay. So you get the sense that obviously other gods don't, while they know when it's okay. So you put together a couple of metaphysical things. Gods know when another god dies, just because they're in tune with that pantheon of energies and stuff. But they are under no obligation or whatever to tell anyone about it. And so a lot of times they just wouldn't, because it doesn't matter to them. And so the question of how Oberon found out about it is kind of interesting, at least for the god of the forest thing. The god of death thing, it's entirely possible he doesn't actually even know about it yet. But I think you know enough about Fae that it's not like they would immediately know when a god died, just like innately. They'd have to discover that information. So your
Especially
guess
something
is
as life aspected as that.
Exactly. Your guess is, yeah, it would be easy. It would definitely be an easy hop, skip, and a jump away for Oberon to be like, god of the forests. I know people who know the god of the forests, right? Like if the god of the forest didn't die in some other location. But in tune with that general aspect. So the thing to kind of take away from this, I think, for you, Marmaduke, and the rest of you, is to really understand where Oberon is coming at. You have to find out who is letting him know that gods are dying, or is he somehow responsible for the god's death in the first place? Right? Trying to learn more about that. These books aren't going to tell you that, but your initial guess, Marmaduke, is Feywild, right? Either talking to Oswin Gage, because that snippet of conversation that Caden heard might possibly mean that he knows about, at the very least, knows about the stuff that's happening right now with the Ascendancy. Or Feywild people. There's probably some sort of Fey that's letting him know what's going on. Yeah, so your guesses as for like who could be feeding Oberon this information is like a powerful wizard or some sort of Fey Lord that's maybe more in tune with the aspects. Also possible, I guess. Yeah, one other piece of information. If it is a Fey, it's likely a Fey from the Northern Court, which is the Winter Court, because they're the most in tune with death energy of the Fey. There's kind of a weird symbiosis that goes on in the Northern Court. So yeah, a Fey from there might be a possible like leak of that information, specifically of the God of Death, right? That's all the kind of information that you guys glean from a cursory study of religious texts and arcane texts.
Do I have any reason to believe that Oswin and Oberon are working together in some way, shape, or form?
From looking at these books, not necessarily.
From intuition?
From intuition, make an insight check. I mean, you know Oswin. Yeah, make an insight check.
Since I know him, can I have
you can have advantage because you just made that history roll, yeah.
Oh, okay. Insight. Because I'm pretty sure I only have one. Oh, I have 2.
Whoa! Didn't even need it.
I will
Crit
take
22.
that.
If Oswin is helping Oberon become the God of Death, it is likely purely for his own self-interest, but you wouldn't put it past him. It's entirely possible that he would work with Oberon to do whatever Oberon wants to do, as long as it would get him something out of the deal. And the thing that comes to mind for you maybe is like if Oberon assassinated the God of Death, then maybe Oswin helped him do that so that he could pin this on Quell and get him banished from England or whatever, right? Because that's the sort of weird tension that's happening here. Your guess, intuitively, is if he's helping, which is, again, not a thing that he probably would do, if he's helping Oberon, he's doing it to get at Quell, probably. That's your like best educated guess.
Okay. Well, I guess I share that with the court.
One other thing I think, Marmaduke, that you think of, because you got that crit, you think about it a little bit further, and you're like, you know, it's also possible this is all just an accident. And the reason you think this is because of the way that Oswin is reacting. Either this is an incredibly long-term plan, and you didn't get any inkling of that when you were working with him, or it's just something that happened, and maybe Oswin and Oberon are taking advantage of it. Maybe the God of Death wasn't assassinated. Maybe it was just a thing that happened, and Oswin's like, cool, undead.
But do gods just die?
You don't know, right? Like, I don't think from everything you guys have seen, they don't die of old age.
Right?
Maybe. I mean, you've never heard of a god dying of old age, at least. But yeah.
Maybe he just got sick of his desk job and just like, yeah, I'm up.
You do know, definitely, it's entirely possible for gods to off themselves.
Oh,
totally
really?
a thing.
Dang.
How do we know that?
Just through metaphysical research and stuff. Donan has a book from...
Through the
There's
research that we
probably
just
myths about it.
Exactly,
Let's
right.
be honest here.
Yeah. Donan has a book from Quell's library that is literally his detailed notes on ascension and gods.
Huh.
Okay. And how would one such person assume the role of God of Death?
An incredible amount of energy.
Well,
What kind
what
of
would you do?
energy?
What would you do with the energy when you have it?
You have okay, so it would be finding someone who knows a ritual. There's obviously a ritual involved. You know this because of Oberon, right? Finding the right ritual and getting enough energy to do the ritual. So there could be a number of people that could know a ritual like that powerful wizards might. So Oswin, it's entirely possible Oswin knows the ritual and is working with Oberon to get what he wants so that he'll give the ritual to Oberon and then he can try again or whatever, right? Especially if there's some sort of difference between becoming the god of death and becoming the god of the forest. And, Oswin's a necromancer, so that's a thing.
He's
Or
not in his tower right now.
Well, yeah. You assume,
You can
at least.
always go.
And then also, right, based on that information, with rituals and stuff, the other place to look, right, would be myths. Because you guys have found at this point the myths are way more reliable than you maybe common people assume they are, or at least common scholars assume they are. Like there's like a level where the common people assume that the legends and the myths are true. The educated scholars know they're not, and the really educated scholars know they're true, right? There's kind of like a weird level of scholarship there.
Somehow that makes complete sense, though.
Right, exactly, right? It's like the conspiracy theory stuff, right? It's like
People that are really in the know are really in the know.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
There's some sort of deep
And
state
they're the
thing
one,
going on.
and they're the ones who they're so much in the know that they ain't telling anyone else.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
They're not the ones who are really in the know aren't the ones writing the blog posts on the internet about it.
Exactly. The lucky thing for you, Donan, is you just happen to find what would have constituted as a blog post, except it's a personal diary and journal of the guy who would never share the secrets with anyone else, but you just happen to have that book. And that's really the linchpin that's put all this together. Because Donan, as you guys have researched all of this, you keep going back and referencing Quell's book. And you're just like, yep, nope, that confirms this, that confirms this. He made a lot of really good educated guesses, and you're starting to put it together, a very good framework for a theory of ascendancy, of gods, of life energy rituals, all that stuff. So,
All right.
yeah, that's the information you have.
Perfect.
So next up,
go on.
where does one go to find the god of thunder and convince him to off himself?
Well, first you have to find out the right name, or someone who knows the right name.
I mean, it's Thor, isn't it?
I mean, you're a
My
cleric.
guess would
You
be
should know the name.
Thor is
right?
probably
hang
dead.
on. I'm feeling it. Yes.
That's his name.
Amwo. Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth.
Nice. Well done.
Unfortunately, yes, Chris Hemsworth is the god of thunder, but only in the far future of this setting. So, you're not
Okay.
quite there yet.
Um,
In the modern version of Thray. Yep. People just thought he was playing the god of thunder in the movies.
but they didn't realize that it was actually a wartime documentary.
Yeah.
Wow. So we've done a lot of good scholarship here. Where is our friendly neighborhood, totally innocent, generally eclectic, teleports into everywhere, keeps notes on ascension, wizard?
I mean, yeah, you still don't know, right? Like, Quell's gone somewhere.
Like, we're all thinking Oswin is the only one here who could possibly know an ascension ritual for a god of death.
Uh-huh.
But he might be the only. But what about Quell? Like, Quell is on that caliber, and we cannot factor him out of the equations here just because we haven't seen him in a while, and because we happen to know someone who knows him and thinks he's a pretty jolly fella, right?
Yeah, entirely possible.
Can we? Talking to Quell would be useful right about now, if nothing else. But also, Quell's disappeared. How long's he been gone? About as long as the zombie plague has been around?
Yeah, basically, from everything you guys have heard, the zombie plague broke out, Quell disappeared.
Kind of together.
Yeah.
In that order, or just together?
I mean, nobody knows the specific order of it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, God of Death dies, undead rise from the ground. Quell Niescent disappears, but Oswin Gage is still around. Gage is doing something with rituals in the sewer, because that's a good place for a ritual.
Yeah.
Quell's still not around. Would Ulrich have any input on this? As like how
About
Quell might
where-
react to an absence in the Pantheon?
You can make an insight check, Ulrich.
Oh my goodness.
Or like
Yeah.
I don't want to rule it out. I'm not
Right.
I'm not going to call him a god assassin or anything, but also
Oh no. No. Quell would, but Caleb would.
But Caleb would secretly make him a traitor.
Exactly. And if
Let's-
he didn't
let's
already,
step
he might now.
I will
down out of that
definitely-
realm of
I will-
let's step from metagaming to metaphysics again, please.
I will
said
definitely
insight? Oh my
say
goodness.
I made some
Cool.
notes about Quell because you gave me ideas, Donan or Josh. Yeah, 3's
I
not
rolled
going
a
to tell you
3.
anything. You have no
Nope.
clue. I mean, but honestly,
So
right?
unpredictable,
Like
right?
Ulrich or Quell is so
I mean, yes.
unpredictable. You
I-
have no clue.
yeah. Let's be real, guys. Let's be real.
Ulrich, you do know one way that you might be able to contact him, though. At the top of his tower, he has what basically amounts to a palantir. He always has told you absolutely never, under any circumstances, use this, but you technically know what it does,
What?
and it's definitely like a crystal ball that can like see things from afar, that can communicate with people long distance. You know it does a lot of that stuff. And he has like a whole bunch of, what's it called? Wards and stuff that he usually puts around it to make sure nobody's messing with it. But you feel like you probably know how to deactivate them.
Okay. It
Just-
seems like a
just a
bad
thing.
idea.
Just a thing you technically know. If you really did want to get in contact with Quell, you think you could probably do that.
Okay, well, hey guys, there is one way we could get in contact with Quell, but I've never done it before. It seems to be very dangerous, and Quell is very, well, there could be a lot of things that go wrong here. So, I don't know. What do you think?
All right. Well, considering the fact that I don't know, the dead don't stay dead right now. There's an undead opening. There's an opening at the throne of the underworld. We've got the Archfey.
Okay,
Himself.
all right, I get it. Okay. You can finish
didn't
your
let
line,
me
though.
finish. I wanted to. I'm only repeating everything you already know. I get it. It's dangerous. What's involved? Where do we gotta go? What are we gonna do?
Well, we got to go to his tower, and after that, I'm really not sure. But we can kind of figure it out, I guess.
Does it involve splitting the party?
Not in theory, but in practice, who knows what could happen?
The future is always a mystery, and we won't always have each other.
Quell is always a mystery.
So what's the ultimate goal of contacting Quell?
I mean, I don't know
Just
that
to
we
figure out.
We just want to know where he stands on this whole thing, because the last thing I want to do is to walk into Osmond Gage's place and be like, hey, you can't be the god of death, or you can't help the god of death ascend. And or we get to the ritual ground and, it's not the way we expect it to be. I don't know. Heck, there are 3 other great wizards of England who also might have input on this.
How
Yeah.
far away is his tower?
What?
We need to learn We need to learn some method of fast travel here, because we're on foot is not going to cut it for this kind of.
Because especially like we have a time crunch.
Mm-hmm. How many months now have the dead not been staying dead?
In real life or game time?
Game time.
I think maybe only about like 3 weeks to a month, something like that.
Okay, so not terribly
So
long, but
longer in real life.
Yes.
Yeah, literally.
Very
significantly
true.
longer in real life.
Yep.
So definitely long enough that, whatever mourning and funeral processions that the underworld might hold for their ruler is probably starting to wind down.
Mhm.
Well, actually, though, can you imagine it? You're the underworld, the place where dead things go, and your ruler dies. That seems like the biggest celebration imaginable, right?
Somehow I feel like a god dying looks less like a funeral and more like a war.
Oh.
That's a good line.
Ah, dang.
Oh.
What'd you say?
What?
What'd you say?
I said somehow I think the god of death dying looks less like a funeral and more like a war. I have a feeling a lot of people kill each other
yeah.
for that position.
I mean, yeah.
I would really like to know whether or not being dead is a prerequisite for the job, because then killing each other for the position would be kind of counterintuitive.
Very true.
Did we find out what the ritual is?
There are several that you could use.
Well, I
You
mean,
don't
we've
know
seen
any of
one.
them.
How would we? Is that another Arcana roll?
Marmaduke, you could definitely make an Arcana roll to try to see if there's any leftover memories from Oberon rocking around in your noggin there because he took over your body that one time.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Nope.
Luck point.
Okay, yeah.
I rolled again 14.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Oh.
It didn't show up for me.
I mean, it's not a 14. I'll roll again.
No, I saw it now.
Oh, okay. You saw it?
Yep.
Okay. Well, then I'll use my second luck point.
Okay.
I can't. Where are you? 19.
19.
I mean, that's like,
You think
Almost
you
a
could
crit.
reproduce it.
I think.
You think.
Okay. Can I substitute children for something else?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It
Wait,
just takes
what?
life energy or
Oh,
death
okay.
energy.
You
We're not
you
allowed to
wanna-
kill any children.
You want to phrase that the other way around, Jared? Can I substitute something else for the children?
Oh, okay.
Right? You're not going to make the children doing the pile thing in the floor, and then you're also going to make the standing stones out of children, right? Because that was the syntax of the sentence that you used.
Yeah, that's definitely not what I meant.
Yeah, so you would obviously need standing stones. So, but you could go to Stonehenge, like, right? There's all sorts of standing stones you could probably find somewhere in England.
And we have a bunch of death energy here. All we
That's
gotta
very
do
true.
is lead
Marmaduke,
them.
Marmaduke, you
Yes.
could absolutely, this without a doubt. In whatever that 19 means, you could figure out a way, because of the way Nottingham is built, you could figure out a way to do basically what amounts to an alchemy circle around the
That's
whole
the
city.
Brotherhood thing.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
And have the undead in the city power that ascension. You could you're positive you could figure that out if you just
So-
had enough research time.
I just like perk up and like, I can do it. That's all I say is I can do it.
And I just give you a look like,
Put me in,
how
coach.
many
Put me in,
people
coach.
have to?
0. Well,
Nobody
unless you
has to
count-
die.
I mean, unless you're a liberal and you pretend undead are people too.
Wow.
Oh,
Sorry, are we considering
okay.
the idea that he's going to take the place of the god of death? Is that what's happening here? I'm just trying to get this.
Well, either me or emperor, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Why not?
I just need a really
The
big
god
piece
of death
chalk
is gone.
to draw a big circle.
The god of death is gone. The crab meme. The god of death is gone.
I whisper to Emperor, "Are you going to secretly try and become god of death instead of me?"
He just kind of looks at you and says, "Why would I seek to be a god of this puny world? This puny dimension?
Okay. So you're a god of like the universe then.
Gods are paltry beings compared to me and mine."
What? Poultry beans? What does that even mean?
That means they're chickens.
Yep.
Paltry, not poultry, and beings, not beans.
Hungry.
Good point. Okay. Emperor is the god of the universe, so he's not going to foil our plans. He doesn't care.
Well, that's a relief. Anyways,
That's hold up. Why is that a
It's
relief?
just like, what is?
do we have more practical things to converse about? I think. What is our plan now? Where are we going? We've gotten the children somewhere safe. Do we have another course of action? Maybe something more achievable than, I don't know, becoming God?
Wait, there's something more achievable than that?
How far is your home from Stonehenge?
Stonehenge? I don't know. Where's
Actually, I wouldn't know that. I couldn't ask that question.
Alright,
Marmaduke's only shared that he's capable of doing something, also that he needs to draw a giant chalk circle.
Yeah,
I don't know, sounds like Rithmancy to me.
I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I can get rid of all of the undead, and I can become the god of death. Potentially.
I'm not entirely sure that that's a good outcome.
For anyone.
Or you could be.
Sounds pretty good to me.
Maybe.
Dibs! Actually, no. I don't
Somehow,
think Don really
I-
wants to be the god of death.
Don't see this going well.
Oh, I
mean,
mean,
it's
party
better than
healer
letting
being a god of death could be super useful, actually. Nope, you're dead, but I'm going to stand you up and keep you going anyway. Nope, get back up, keep going. Pick that arm up off the floor, stick it back on, keep going.
Or they're planning on us setting up the ritual and they're going to swoop in at the last second. Maybe they're planning for this all along.
Yeah, Marmaduke,
See?
the thought comes to you that it's entirely possible that that's why Oswin is in the city. If you thought of it, then maybe Oswin did too.
Oh my gosh, he's here to do the thing.
Yes, maybe
That's why
we should.
Who's here to do what thing?
Hey, that might be why, because he has a higher intelligence than I do. I'm charisma based. He's intelligence based.
Do an RPG.
Kidding.
I'm like, oh wait, I just broke the 4th wall.
Perhaps we should deal with the people who are trying to become gods before we try our hand at it.
Yeah, Marmaduke, from what you know, it's also entirely possible you would not get the prerequisite materials and stuff set up to do that before one of the other people figured it out.
I mean, if they're going to be doing it here, we don't need to set it up. We just need to swoop in at the last second and take it.
And
That's
disrupt
technically
it.
true. Yeah.
Yes, take it.
Disrupt it.
Exactly. We're saying the same thing.
We're not saying the same thing, and you want to know it.
Here's the thing: if Gage sets up this ritual, what are the chances that he's going to set up the kind of magnanimous circle that will only destroy the undead in the city? I have a feeling whatever he does, based on the fact that he is trying something similar to what Oberon tried, and Oberon tried to kill children for it, that this will probably just destroy everyone in the city, don't you think? If we use his circle, we'll probably just kill everybody.
So we should make our own circle.
Yeah, I think we should just kill him and move on.
Well, when you can cast world-changing, planet-destroying magic, that'll be an option.
Emperor says, only I have planet-destroying magic.
Are you going to use it to help us?
Is he speaking into his
No.
head, or is he speaking so that everyone
No,
can
it's
hear?
speaking it into his head. Yeah, nobody else
Okay, I was
understands.
gonna
All
Well, if
you
you're not
see
going
is
to
him
use it to
like,
help
shitting
us,
his
then
claws.
it's... Yeah. If you're not going to use it to help us, then it doesn't matter.
I just thought I would say that.
Yeah. Yes.
I need
yes,
to remind you ever so often, Marmaduke, of my immense power.
I know you're
And
very
your own
powerful.
mortality.
Yes, I am definitely mortal, despite my various achievements in the multiverse. Yes, I know.
What is
Quite.
what is everything?
I don't even know anymore,
So
Connor.
there's the realm of metagaming, there's the realm of metaphysics. And then there's down here where we normally play, so we're kind of lost in the clouds.
Uh-huh.
And then there's Emperor.
Yes, well, we've talked about this at length to no real conclusion. So, what is our next step?
I mean, we could just say, why don't we just let the necromancer have it? I mean, if he wants the throne of death so much, why do we just give it to him? Then we can go off and clean up Erastus's castle, and necromancer becomes the god of death, and it seems like a win-win for everybody.
Until everyone in the world dies.
I mean, everybody's gonna die at some point.
Yeah.
It's just whether or not it's expedient to me to leave them alive long enough for them to defeat the boss. I mean, I help when I can. I help who I can.
I can always just leave this plane of existence and go to another one.
For reals, though.
Yeah, what is the plan?
Seems like we have some options. We could try to get a hold of Quell and figure out what he's doing among all of the disappearing things. We could go and we could see about the Court of Winter and maybe find whoever might be snitching to Oberon about...
Only problem with that is that's in like Scandinavia, which is a very far distance from here.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. As something more expedient, then we could look for a means of more rapid travel between places.
Yeah.
So that then we can go after the.
I mean,
The Winter
getting
Fey
in touch
Vikings.
with Quell would help that.
Curiosity.
That's true, because the guy teleports all over the place. He
Yeah.
could just teach us, I don't know, basic teleport.
Wait,
Dimension
what?
door.
Teleport level 4? Teleport 1, whatever. Like, can we just corner Quell and force him to teach us
Probably
that
just
spell
dimension
too,
door
so
us
we can
around.
move? I mean, yeah, but something tells
ahead
me
and
that the Quell Nescent transport system won't be nearly as reliable as Donan casting teleport.
That's true, but it would also not take you gaining like a few levels first. Because
I still
Dimension
don't
Door
see
is
the
a fourth
problem.
level spell. I mean, when's
Right,
the
so backing up a bit. Yeah, the Winter Court's an option. It's a bit of a hike, and there's absolutely zero guarantee we're going to find anything useful there, besides the fact that there might be some death-aspected priest guy handing Oberon information about doings and goings-on in the Pantheon that may or may not be stuff that could have percolated to him anyway. So the general question is, I think... Oh, there was a third one I had in my head. A third option of things to pursue. We could follow Osmond Gage around. Try to establish a connection between him and Oberon. And then disrupt what he's doing and save the people who might be harmed by it.
Yeah, I feel like the immediate concern is we have to figure out how far along he may be in his ritual, because if we have some time, then maybe we can go get some help and do some research and whatever. If he's like, oh, I just have to, finish my circle and then I'm done, then maybe we should worry about disrupting his ritual or killing him in some way, which is not going to happen, but whatever. First, because we don't want him to ascend to godhood, presumably, being that he seems slightly lame. So,
would I be able to roll anything to figure out why specifically he wanted that kid's corpse? Through everything we learned,
Arcana or Insight, one of those.
Most definitely Arcana.
Nah, doesn't. I mean,
I have
he's a
one
necromancer.
more luck
but-
point.
Yeah, you can try it.
16.
Okay. Honestly, it's kind of confusing to you. It doesn't make any sense. He shouldn't have wanted the kid's corpse. It would have been pretty much useless to him. And that's like the odd thing that you'll learn about that, right? So there might be something more important than you guys know, but you certainly don't think about it yourself. Or yeah. So
Marmaduke, is there any way you have might be able to determine how far along he is in this process, or how long it might take him in general? How much time do we have to deal with this? If it is his goal to do what you had in mind.
Well, It depends how many people he has. He has to draw a big circle around the town, right? That's how it works.
Pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah, as far
Yeah.
as you know.
And he needs energy. He's got plenty of that here. No clue why he wanted that kid. So that's really weird. And there's probably something huge going on there that I beyond my small brain. So
Well,
it's very strange that he wanted.
if all he needs to do is draw a circle around the town, I can't imagine that'll take him that long.
Well, that's not
Especially if
the
he has
only thing.
Zombie.
There's a
Well,
ritual and probably some ingredients, and
how long do you think assembling the entire thing would take?
that's a GM question.
Yeah.
Caleb, how long do I think it'll take?
Depends on how fast you get the proper materials, and other,
I'm
like-
assuming he has access to those.
assuming he already has access to all of those. I mean, the city's pretty big. Maybe like
I mean,
a week.
how exotic are the materials we're talking about here too? Is it safe to assume that he has all of them?
Exotic enough that it's possible he has all of them, or sorry, not exotic. Common enough that it's possible he has all of them, but exotic enough that it's also possible he doesn't have some of them. So, if he already has all of them, a week, which
Okay.
could have already started.
Right.
If he doesn't, then anywhere from like 2 weeks to a month.
How long ago did the priest guy say he talked to that snake lady in the sewer?
The snake lady, the vampire.
Vampire lady, yeah. They both have sharp teeth. Same thing.
I mean, he's been
seems
gone
pretty-
for like a few weeks, so at some point during that, he doesn't know. He was out of it.
Okay. Anywhere between a week and a half at the most and 5 minutes at the soonest.
Well, unfortunately, that doesn't give us much to work with. How much help would we be able to get if we were to get to my keep? Like, I mean, obviously we don't know, but how many people do I assume that we would be able to, like,
Can he pull
Yes,
a
to
levy
come
from the
help
peasants
us.
around? And
yeah, basically, like, because if we can get people to come help us disrupt this, then we don't have to worry about one fighting a wizard by ourselves, but also, like, if he's trying to build a circle around the whole town, we can just have someone follow him around and kick it out. You know, like, if we have some extra hands, especially if we're trying to acquire materials, it'll be a lot easier. And then we'll actually have a reason to, like, link in going home, which is a thing my character's been trying to do.
Mhm,
So,
makes
like,
sense.
how much? What do I think I could get from a visit there, as far as like personnel or resources would go?
Yeah, if let me do a quick.
I mean, if we come down at night and we try to knock down the circle that they're building, they're probably at some point going to start putting archers with their people, and like kind of rotating who's on the wall. We can't come at night anymore.
Is there a wall around the town?
No, I'm trying to make it
There
down
is.
Nehemiah. I'm making a Nehemiah joke.
Oh,
I think it was Nehemiah.
Yeah.
Right, where the
Yep.
the neighboring people would come at night and knock down the wall, so they set up a watch.
I mean, it's very possible he's not drawing. He's just like tunneling or doing shape earth or some other magic thing.
right. But
It
I mean,
isn't just
presumably we
chalk.
can disrupt whatever it is.
So Erastus, if your full retinue is still there at the castle, you could call on like 3 dozen to 4 dozen like trained soldiers.
Okay.
Maybe a night or two. It's possible you
Mhm.
have technically under your employ.
But that would probably leave the place entirely.
Yes, you would also
understaffed,
have
right?
like
Yeah,
a steward.
right. My NPC characters. Yeah.
Yeah. You probably have like a chaplain there, chamberlains, laundresses, personal attendants, kitchen
Right.
people, entertainers, those sorts of things.
A giant rat.
Yeah.
Okay. And then yeah, so I think I say, my right, what's the name? Yeah, Skiathos is only 7 miles from here, and if we go, we could get some help, get some extra weapons, or I suppose people to hold them. And if we need things for your ritual, we may be able to get them there, or at least it'll be easier there than here, more than likely. And then at least we won't be facing. What's his something Gage? What's his first name?
Oswin.
Oswin.
Oswin, thank you. Then at least we won't be facing Oswin Gage alone and unprovisioned.
I just
Also,
give you a
I would
shopping
like to
list
be
of
sure
everything we need.
I'd like to be sure that the undead have not caused trouble for my people. And yeah, I take a look at the list, and is it stuff that I think that we'd either have some of or have access to? Or I guess should probably make a check for that.
What are you trying to do again?
If I look at his shopping list of stuff, is that kind of this stuff? That stuff I think that we'd either have access to or have.
Hang on, why are we trying to gather the stuff for the ritual?
That's what I'm wondering too.
Because he
Are we
wanted to
doing
do
a
that.
scavenger hunt to be faster than Oswin Gage?
Well,
Because I'm okay with that. It's just a little bit weird that we'd be gathering the materials to cause somebody to
Well, no,
ascend. And I
'cause-
get that Jared wants to, but also we maybe
I mean,
don't want to
there
have
might
all
not
those
be an
things in the same
option.
place.
that's true.
Let's
When
split 'em
I,
up.
There's
Split 'em up.
always
I
an
don't-
option.
Yeah. So I
That's
mean,
true.
that's. Sorry. Go ahead.
I figured that we wouldn't be able to use his preparations because they'd probably be more nefarious than ours. But also, I guess I was against the whole idea in general, so I probably wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think you would.
I as a player was considering it, but I don't think.
I think several of us just perked up at the idea of maybe taking the slot of the God of Death.
Oh, boy.
Not
But
gonna
also-
lie, I'm starting to come up with character reasons why Donor might want it.
There's the caveat that if anybody does that, they have to make a new character. So there is also that. He's not going to play the God of Death.
No.
So
I can just be a level 20 death god. It's fine.
Level
mean,
30
yeah.
Death God.
It'll just be like, hey,
I'd settle for a level 40.
oh my
Death
gosh.
God,
Okay, but wait. Let's think about this. If Marmaduke becomes the God of Death, he would probably still be under the thrall of Ulrich, which would mean that Ulrich would now be the God of
Yes.
Death.
Oh, so does that mean automatically succeeding on death saves?
Yes.
but I feel kind of
As long as Ulrich asks nicely?
having as much magical potential as a god, you would probably have a decent enough counter magic that you could get rid of.
But the thing
a
is, I
small
wouldn't.
scale
But he
curse.
wouldn't want to. That's the thing. That's the whole idea.
Well, yeah, but I mean-
Oh, wow.
Honestly, if you had a god who had that and they had some sort of low-level wild mage curse on them, would that bind them to some mortal
it's
person?
one-
Do you
no,
not
here's the thing, it's
remember
one
Greek
thing-
mythology?
It's one
Are we
thing
nodding?
for
Oh.
a god who is currently a god to have a situation
Right.
like that happen. It's totally
Yes.
another for a person who had the curse while a human ascended. I think, given the metaphysical stuff that I've set up in this setting, I think because Marmaduke wouldn't want to, he wouldn't.
Okay.
And
as long as
another
you don't
god
think
could do
the
it.
God wouldn't come with like the standard elf can't be charmed sort of style thing, then I guess that's fair.
I mean, don't you remember all the Olympian gods putting curses and charms on one another so that they fall in
Well,
love
yeah,
with stuff?
I mean to be
or
fair, if a god
get
put that
mad
on
at stuff?
I think
or...
I think it would depend on how he ascended.
yeah, all right, and it doesn't matter because this isn't gonna happen. So
Jared says that's what you think.
And
That's
if
what
he
we
does,
said about him
then
seducing the goddess of marriage in a
Connor
different
hasn't
series.
specifically told me not to,
there's
and I think
a,
it's for the best of the party.
That's true.
There's a-
Ulrich, you could just
there's a
shut this down right
difference.
now.
Yeah.
there's a broad difference between seducing a god and literally becoming one to the point where you've ruined your character for the game. So I think there's some practicality considerations. Anyways, we are almost out of time, so we should probably find a place to like.
Yeah.
What's the
Set our
actual
sights on.
direction here?
Let's go to the keep so we get the points.
I was
I mean,
gonna
that's
say, I
my
like the
vote.
idea of going to the keep to have a place to set up and work. Let's evacuate the monastery to the keep.
But that's
So
gonna
at
be
least
harder.
they're not going to get slurped up by the ritual
That's a
and
good
turned
point.
into death energy to make a death god, right?
Yeah,
That would be nice.
that is true.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if you think the children are in danger of this thing, you probably wouldn't just leave them here.
And then it won't
Yeah.
matter which ritual we use.
I mean, yeah, ideally we would evacuate the city so that no matter what ritual goes off, we don't have a whole city's worth of
Well, yeah, but
civilian
I mean-
casualties.
There's no way that my keep could feed a whole city's worth of people. Even just this entire priory would be like.
Well, So we've
Pre-taxing
already established that most of the city hasn't been fed in a very long time and are in fact shambling around looking for brains.
Right.
So
No, I'm talking about.
there might not be many left.
Right.
And
I'm just
you
saying.
got to
even
assume
other
a few of them
people-
are going to die on the way there too.
That's true.
And then
I'm
they
just saying,
start
even
shambling
other
around
people
looking for
in front of us
brains.
would be a thing. So more would be difficult. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's
So
up
to
to
the
Caleb
keep,
how much.
or are you going to Quell's Tower first? Because that's the most direct
Yeah, I don't know.
thing
Right.
next to you.
We could go
How
to
far
Quell's
away is
Tower
Quell's Tower?
to find his magic glass thing that shows things that Quell doesn't want you to see.
That's right.
That won't Iosaur on us at all. It's fine.
No, definitely not. You guys get there's like a bunch of caution tape around it, and like
There's just a black fabric thrown over it.
Mhm.
Like, oh no, it's fine.
Is that the plan,
Anyway,
or are you going
I
straight
guess
to the
we
keep?
should do that first because.
Yeah, I mean, that's like we could talk to Quell and then go to the keep.
Yeah,
I think
it
what
seems
we
like a
should do
logical
is-
series of events.
we should convince the priory guy to begin preparations to the priest to begin preparations for this, and then while they're doing that, we
Yeah,
can go.
mhm.
Yeah, okay, let's do that.
Okay,
least-
so real quick, just Donin, you mentioned this to the head guy,
Mhm.
who I've forgotten his name, but it doesn't matter right now.
Mhm.
He and you say, hey, well, like, what's your
Well, we
argument
lay-
here?
We lay out. So, you know what would be the natural result of there being no place for dead things to go?
You asking him?
Yeah.
I'm not sure I get your drift.
They'd be up walking around looking. They'd be up shambling around looking for brains, eh?
I suppose that would be true, yes.
And who holds the key to whether or not dead things go anywhere when they become dead?
Necromancers? What you trying to get at, Donan?
No, the god of death.
Of course, yes.
And what do you think happens when the god of death is suddenly no longer at his post?
What do you mean no longer at his post? What have you been doing in the library?
Studying. Alright, look. Gods can die. And when they die, they leave behind their power and the aspect of it, but there's no force controlling it. It's just sort of there, ripe and waiting for something to come grab hold of it. Unfortunately, what I've gathered is that the god of death has moved on, passed away into the great clouds beyond, and now we're looking at an absence, a power vacuum in the pantheon, if you will. And the physical manifestation of it is the things digging themselves out of their own graves to go look for brains. And we believe that the events we stopped in the sewers were directly tied to using this entire town's worth of energy, life, death, sucking your soul out of your body to turn it into pure energy to cause someone to ascend, to take that throne of the underworld. Descend, ascend. Direction doesn't matter when you're talking about metaphysics. Point is, you kind of stay here. Best case scenario, we stop it before it goes off and nobody dies. Worst case scenario, the entire town gets turned into a energyless, lifeless pile of nothing. And then we've got a new death god on the throne. What I'm trying to say is there's a keep owned by Erastus. It's 7 miles from here. We're going to need to pack up the shrine, or the people from the shrine, and as much as you can reasonably save, and travel there, so no more people have to die in some insane being's chase after deity. Did that make any sense at all to you?
Make a persuasion check. Would
Never
you like
heard
to
Josh
fish
more
for
on
Can
advantage?
I take some inspiration?
Yeah, everybody charge inspiration if you don't have it. You guys have been great.
Okay.
I've barely done anything, but I'll take it.
So
Don't worry,
My
I have a scene for you next, Leasig.
Oh, okay.
my connection with this guy, he was one of the teachers here, if not like the headmaster here when I was
Yeah, he was.
present
I mean,
and studying.
you
and,
never really
right?
got along with this guy, but yeah.
Sure, but Donan was always a good student.
Mhm.
He maybe didn't always, he wasn't maybe always the most diligent, always the most trouble-free, but in terms of when he sat down and applied himself to a research project, he got it done and he drew conclusions, and it was solid, academically stringent in everything that a scholar wants out of a research paper. Right? So maybe we get this scene of Donan up in front of the class of like 4 or 5 other clerics. It's a small place, not really official academy or anything, but he's up there defending this thesis that he wrote on some relationship between the formation of cumulonimbus clouds and the angles at which roots grow on birchwood trees in the summer in North America.
I mean, you don't know about North America, but...
Or, well, I don't know that there's birchwood trees in England, so we're kind of at an impasse here.
I think we did look that up at one point. I don't remember what we... I think there are.
Oh, that's right, yes. We did look that up.
Yeah.
And I don't remember why, but we did look that up. But yes, there were birch in England. So, yeah, the angle at which birchwood trees go under the formation of a cumulonimbus cloud. And he had this well-reasoned argument and questions coming left and right, and he's answering them with astute observations, good refutations, and the teacher's just sitting there silently applauding while Donan's not looking. Because one cannot show a student that one has spent so long berating any sort of approval when they do something right, because praising people for doing things right would be a bad idea.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think in that vision we see, or that flashback, we just see the guy like grunt at you, like, and that's the only like approval he gives. But like, oh, I did it, yeah.
That subtle.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So make a persuasion check with advantage.
So for all this, with how good Donan is at his constructing arguments and building up a thesis. Hey!
I got scared because you clicked it twice and that was a 7.
I know.
Okay, but yeah, crit success. So literally, the only response we get is the guy looks at you and he goes, and then he just goes off to do all the stuff you told him to do.
Yes.
I'm glad the dice worked in your favor there. Okay,
I mean, it would have been a 16. That's not terrible.
Yeah.
It's not, hey, let's just pack up the only home you've ever really known, built on a sacred spot with like ley lines and stuff.
Right.
And go to a castle of a guy that we don't really know. Or go to a castle we don't really know, owned by somebody
really
who's not
worked.
been there in years.
Yeah, the only way this really would have worked is if you had gotten a crit. So I'm glad you did it. Okay, so as you guys we see all of you like packing up your stuff. You're getting ready to head out to Close Tower as the other people are packing up their stuff. The acolytes are getting stuff together. They're packing up the children too. Leesig, you happen to be walking by the kitchen, and you smell something. And I guess it's up to you whether or not you would enjoy the smell of turtle soup. But what do you think? Is this a smell that entices Leesig or does not?
Probably not.
Okay, yeah, so you smell is like, it's obviously food, but you're like, I don't know if I'd ever eat that. But maybe you like half-heartedly glance into the kitchen and you can see that the rat guy is in there working away at something. And there's a couple of like empty like turtle shells, like just kind of scattered on the floor. And nobody seems to be paying him any attention because they're packing up other stuff. Do you do anything or you just keep walking by?
So this is the rat guy that we ran into in the sewers?
Yep.
Okay.
The guy that reminds you of your old thief contact.
I mean, I think she kind of sticks her head in and is like, you remind me of someone, but I can't quite place it.
Yeah, and so he like drops the spoon into the pot or whatever because you scared him, and he's just like, I need another ladle. And then he just like goes and finds one and like scoops out the other, the spoon that he dropped in, grabs it out. And then he looks at you and kind of like obviously flushed, has these 2 spoons in his hand. He's like, and then like turns away and starts like doing something else, like grabbing spices out or whatever. He's like kind of avoiding your question or your inquiry.
Is there a reason why I would be familiar with you?
A rat person? You've never met a rat person before, have you?
Make an insight check.
Yeah, of course.
I'm gonna use my inspiration on this.
All right, do it.
Oh, and
Good thing you did, though. I think 12 is just barely enough to
okay.
get the last piece of information you need. Yeah, I mean, this is exactly... You remember a conversation you had with Erlo at one point where he stole something from you, and you were trying to, like, call him on it, and this is the exact way he acted. So you don't know about were-rats necessarily, but you're just like, oh, I think this is Erlo. Whatever happened to him, this is him. This is my old thief contact halfling person.
oh,
I couldn't hear most of that. I think you're talking too
Oh.
quiet for the mic, yeah.
I mean, she's just like Erlo.
And he, like, turns back, looks at the two spoons, sets them on, like, the counter, looks at you, or the table or whatever. He says, yes, it's me. I was hoping you wouldn't notice. Well, look at me. I'm hideous.
What happened?
Well, I turned into a rat.
Yes, I see that, but why?
Where's the compassion?
What were you thinking?
She's Leasing.
Why did you turn into a rat?
Well, when things started going wrong in this city, I tried to make a run for it, tried to make a break for it, broke into a jeweler's shop, grabbed everything I could carry, and ran. I thought the sewers would be a great place to navigate out of the city. Nobody would go looking for me in the sewers. And I met an old man. Well, that's what I thought was an old man until he tried to eat me. His bite left a mark, and I managed to kick him in the head enough that he got knocked unconscious, and then I went and drowned him in the sewer water. But and this is exactly the kind of guy you remember this dude to
Yeah.
be. He's a nasty old man, but it turns out he was more than that. He was a were-rat, and he gave me lycanthropy. So, or whatever.
That's interesting.
Technically, lycan is based on the root word in Celestial. It means wolf. So I don't know if that necessarily counts for rats, but whatever.
You just say that out
Yeah.
loud?
Yes, he did.
What an idiot.
The real question is, how does he know Celestial?
It's Latin in this setting.
I know, yeah. I just expect him to know.
Caleb, Arorios is rat, so Aroriopathy.
Aroriopathy. Yeah, so he thinks about it. He's like, Aroriopathy. There, that would probably be the word. Don't know if anyone's ever used that word before. Well, were rats are usually too stupid to come up with words like that anyway. Well, what do you think? Disgusted? Horrified?
He just shrugs.
It's the same old Leasig that I knew.
That's good to hear, at least.
Is it? I don't know if it is. Anyway,
Wow.
Ouch.
I guess reunion. What are you doing back in Nottingham? I thought you had left for good that time. It's been 6 months.
Oh, yeah. Trying to think of what the last thing I would have been doing was.
I don't know.
Probably stealing something.
Yeah, I think so. I think he asked, "Did that last job you tried to pull go wrong or something?"
Well, it didn't exactly go right.
Who was it? Is it a lord named Babington or something?
Yeah. He's dead now, but I don't have the item I was looking for, so.
Well, why have you been gone 6 months, dodging his assassins or something? Disgruntled family members?
I wish.
If that was the least of my worries, yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, she's just like, Well, we've kind of been in the Feywild, and I guess that world kind of alters time a bit, so it hasn't been as long as that to me.
What?
Is
Is this more of that druid crap that you tried teaching me about?
No.
Some other crap.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not interested in it. Well, you were gone. Some sort of magic was involved. That's all I really need to know.
Yeah.
So, Lisig, do you think you could help me make the best soup ever? I really want to impress this guy.
Let me see if I actually have any skills that would help with that. What would that be?
It'd probably be like, it's probably like a toolkit, isn't there, for that?
Oh, probably.
Maybe.
I wouldn't have.
Probably.
Let me see if I can find a list of toolkits.
But I mean, all that would be is whether or not she has proficiency with it, and I doubt she does.
Yeah, cook's utensils.
So it would
and
probably just be like
it'd probably be with intelligence. So yeah, you would just
Yeah.
make a roll with intelligence.
Okay.
But what you could do is you can just give him advantage if you do want to do this. So he asks. I mean, do you press him any further, or you do literally just like walk in and like, here, I'll help you.
No. Yeah, she's just like, I don't have anything better to do, and
That's
you're the
fair.
only person I actually like know here. So
Okay.
besides the party that I've been kind of stuck with.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, you guys start like just cooking. Have you done this before together? Is this the thing that's happened?
probably not.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you're wondering now why you didn't see it before because you remember Urlo being a person who was obsessed with cooking and stuff, right?
Okay.
You just got very bad insight rolls. Yeah, and so he seems pretty normal, like for being a rat, like, and yeah, so he just is doing that and like, making food, and he's just like, hand me that spice or whatever, right? Like. And I think at one point if you don't say anything, at one point he looks at you and says, Do you know of any of those people that you run with? Who are they exactly to you again? Friends? Family?
Acquaintances, at the most.
I mean, it's basically all you and I are, aren't we? In our line of business, everyone's an acquaintance. If they're anything more than that, well, that's when betrayals happen.
Fair.
You remember what my brother always used to say? Anyone will betray you. Well, anyway, my question... Do you think any of them might know how to... He just kind of gestures at himself. At least, like, I know that we necessarily weren't, again, friends, exactly, but do you think you could put in a word? Well, even if I can't turn into a human or a halfling again, hopefully I could at least cook food for this Erastus fellow or whatever. Timing was really good on that, by the way. I might actually even stick around instead of just stealing from him and leaving. But,
better than I'm doing, so.
What?
But
What?
if...
Hold the
I mean,
phone.
In her mind, she's only staying with the party for as long as it takes everyone to find Oswin Gage so she can get this item she's been after.
Yeah.
So.
Wow, I feel so loved.
I mean, maybe she feels like more acquainted with everyone else than she's actually letting on, but
I mean, yeah, nobody's except for maybe Donan has made a concerted effort to befriend Lisig, so
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Donan and Lisig might be friends.
Yeah, but I feel like she wouldn't admit that.
No, certainly not.
Say that.
No. But yeah, so he asks, or he says, at the very least, if I can do that, that would be nice. But if I could also turn back into myself, then, that would also be good. Heard you
I think I can do that.
were all talking about magic, so I thought I'd ask. Thank you, Lasik. I appreciate that. I know, again, I must be an interesting sight, and sorry about that watchmaker shop, by the way. I didn't mean to, I did mean to betray you, but not. I didn't mean for you to be put in prison, so I apologize for that, at least.
She just kind of just like,
whatever.
It's
yeah.
over with.
yeah. Yeah, and he just goes back to himself and he's like, same old Lasig. And then yeah, let's make the roll. I'll make it for him, and then he'll what am I even trying to say?
Make it with advantage.
Yeah. Thank you. So 11 is his roll. Okay, well, he doesn't make the best turtle soup, but he does call you in Erastus. At one point, you're like maybe walking by the hallway, and he's like, Master Camber, I do have that turtle soup ready for you if you're ready to taste it.
Oh, yes. Sure. Yeah. Following.
And then
Is there anything I could like? I mean, I know I'd have to make a roll for this, but is there anything I could throw in last minute to make it taste better? Just like offhanded knowledge about. Like,
oh yeah, you make a nature check.
Yeah.
Maybe you taste it and you're like,
And there's like, there's an herb or a spice that could.
yeah. I mean, you. Okay, do you want to think what happens, Lasik? So you taste the soup, right? Like, and because you've been mostly like helping him, like by giving him things and stuff. You taste the soup as he's like flagging down Erastus, and you're just like, oh, that's awful. And then you're like, yes, there is a spice that I could put in here, and that would make it all better. And you grab it and you throw a whole bunch in, and it makes it worse.
Oh no! Oh no!
Accidentally threw Nightshade in. Oh no!
I hate it when I throw nightshade in things that I'm cooking for friends.
So Erastus, and I think Lasik, we see you like, okay, you know what I think it is? There's like a cabinet or whatever, right? That's made for dwarf height, which is a little bit taller than you, and you kind of like on your tippy toes, and you grab the wrong thing.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
And so Erastus, you walk in, and
so I'd like to see what is the hygiene state of this rat guy who just made this food.
Oh, that's a good question.
As cleanly as a rat can be. He definitely took a bath since he got out of the sewers. At the very least, that happened.
But he doesn't smell like death or have clearly.
Marmaduke has started smelling like death over the
that's
past few minutes.
Well,
but
I'm trying to become death.
Hey,
Okay. Well, yeah. So I think he sits down and like looks at the soup and looks. What is the guy's name?
You've never actually gotten this guy's name.
Okay. So yeah, he just looks up at the rat guy, and what is he doing? Is he just standing there, or?
Yeah, basically, he just like was standing expectantly, like
okay.
A bowl
So
of
yeah,
soup.
he just looks at him for a moment and says, "I don't prefer to eat in front of others, at least not something like this." Yeah.
Yes. Lasik, let's go. And you guys like step out into the corridor or whatever. Yeah.
And then I cast purify food and drink on it, which all non-magical food and drink within a 5-foot radius sphere centered on a point of your choice within range is purified and rendered free of poison and disease. And then I'll try it.
Yep.
Just in case.
Okay, so I mean,
Got rid of the taste.
well, that's the thing. I don't think it's gonna get rid of the taste.
No, I don't think it's because it just makes it not diseased.
But yeah, it just doesn't make it not poison, which I think legitimately saves you because I think Lasik definitely did put in poison on accident.
Oh,
yeah.
He
At
was
least
just
in the
thinking, this
quantities
guy's
that she
not
put it
clean.
in, like it would have
Yeah.
made you sick.
Yeah, he was just thinking this guy's probably not very clean, just in case.
Yeah. Also, there might have been that. It's true.
Um.
Okay. Yeah. So you do that, and then you taste it.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
I don't have to make a Constitution save or anything.
nope. It's
Okay,
just
good.
a very weird tasting soup. You
Yeah,
can, I
so-
mean, Erastus can decide if he's into that, but
I mean, I think based on the roll, I'll just go on that.
Yeah.
And he kind of like screws his face up a little bit. He's like, "That's so strange."
you see out of the corner of your eye the rat guy poking his head in, like looking at you, wringing his hands.
Do I have any? Can I tell what's in it? It's weird. Do I
Make
have any
a
knowledge of food? It's probably intelligence, right?
yeah, just an
in general.
intelligence check, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, 13. It's not great.
Yeah.
It's pretty good for me. But
I think
great.
I think you look over and you see that like one of the spice jars or whatever in the top like has been like knocked over a little bit. And Lisa put it back in haste or whatever.
Yeah.
And you look at it and it's just like some sort of like weird dwarven spice that you're sure that you would not like, and you don't like this thing, and you're just like, yeah, that's the weird taste.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think he eats enough of it to like be polite. And gosh, I don't know how he wants to do this. Yeah, I think he just stands up and dabs his mouth with a napkin or something and sets it down, and then turns towards the door where he saw the guy poking his head around and like.
Okay, yeah. So he kind of comes in like, did you like it?
Oh, I'm lying.
Erlo casts Zone of Truth on you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he smiles and he says, I'm not sure turtle soup is particularly to my taste, but I'm sure that with some instruction on my preferred dishes from my current chefs, you'll do fine. And can I make a check to try and like stop him to like try and make it come off like I'm like, yeah, it'll get better.
Yeah,
It's fine.
deception.
Okay, deception. It won't get better. Okay. It's way too.
Whoa. Okay, well I'll roll an insight for him, but I don't think he'll get higher than that. So
Okay. Yeah.
unless he gets a crit, that's the only way which he almost got, but
An 8. Oh.
Remind me not to challenge David when deception is around.
Yeah, I have a +5 to charisma. I
Holy
actually have no skill
cow.
in deception. It's all raw charisma stat.
yeah.
Holy cow!
So yeah, that happens, and he's just like kind of like yes, of course, yeah, thank you, yeah, and nods away, walks away like, oh, okay, that went well, and he passes you Lisa and just says thanks, and then walks past like whistling to himself.
I just give a knowing smile to Lisa. And yeah.
As you leave Erastus, you see that there's like 4 like empty turtle shells on the ground.
Nice. Just
Yep. Cool.
well done.
So there you go.
Good stuff.
Unless someone else has like a quick scene they for sure want to do.
I go to Scathos real quick.
You go to what?
My key.
Oh. No. Yeah, so I think the last thing we see as we kind of like see everybody packing up to go and all that stuff, most of the people are like getting ready. We see you guys head out to go to Quell's Tower, right? And then we see we kind of like follow like a corridor, and most of the people have abandoned this part of the shrine at this point. We go into like a kind of like a darker portion. It's not even lit anymore because like they've turned out the lanterns at this point. And we hear a muffled like grunt, and then a cry, and then like a gurgle. And we wait outside of this door, this like closed door for a minute. The camera does, and then after a moment, a man steps out, and he's like almost. It's like he's putting on like a human-sized like robe of this like Pictish order or whatever, and then like furtively like looking around, and then we see in his eyes something that makes us like there's like a coldness there, a grimness, an almost like complete lack of emotion, and then he like puts up the hood and then follows the rest of the priests like out, and we look at inside the room and we see like a human Pictish priest that's just like dead, throat slit. So Ope indeed. And then I think the very last shot we get is we just see Ulrich walking, leading the party towards Quell's tower, and that's the shot. Cool. That was a really fun session. That gave us a lot of direction, help us figure out
That was
a thing.
fantastic.
Yeah. A good start to the role-playing games of 2020. I'm excited about it.
Oh yeah. Huh.
Let's do some goals, guys. Let's give you guys some XP.
Yes, please.
Ulrich.
I was not a good husband. I don't think she was even mentioned.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I don't think she existed.
I thought about bringing her up, but I realized not only does she not have direct connections to Oberon, but also she wouldn't have any answers about the Winter Court either.
No.
Yeah.
So it wasn't...
Find the next step against Oberon.
Are you level 4?
Me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Didn't you have find out where Osmond Gage was?
Well, oh, sorry.
No. Did we accomplish that?
What were your three goals then? I have different.
I changed the last one mid-session.
Oh, okay. I just didn't realize that.
Which was defeat an enemy or whatever, and I was like, talk to Quell, because that was actually like on the board of like things that we were accomplishing.
So your goals are be a good husband.
Yeah,
which
I did
Quell.
nothing of. Yes, and find the next step against Oberon.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
I think we found our next step, right? It's to go locate. It's to locate Quell.
Well, really, like locate Oswin, but yeah, going to Quell.
But we've found the next step.
Yeah. No, what I'm saying is basically you found the next step is finding out who knows about the ritual stuff, right? Like that's the next step.
Sure.
Okay, yeah. So you get working on. You can get a small completion for find the next step against Oberon, and then working on to talk to Quell.
So how much XP?
So you get 375.
I'm exactly at 6,000.
You still have about 400 to go before you.
500 to go before I level up to level 5.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah. Ulrich and Leisig were kind of the background support characters this episode. So, Erastus.
Yeah. Let's see. So I had Barry Lefflin's body.
Did that?
Which, yeah, okay. Return to my keep, which I put it as a goal, but
you're working on it.
Like get there, yeah. And find out what the priests know about the undead plague.
Yeah, you did that.
So I just have that one left.
1,250.
Okay.
Doing in.
That's me.
You level 4 as well?
Aye.
Okay.
So, question the priest about the undead.
You did it.
Hey, visit Erastus's keep.
You're working on it.
So I'm gonna increment, and then find the next step to stopping Oberon's ascension.
You did that.
So that was 3 sessions on that goal.
3 sessions?
This session and then a +2.
Okie dokie. So you get 750 XP.
Did I get 750 XP?
I think you did.
I think I hit a milestone. Or a threshold,
Yeah,
rather.
did you level up to 5?
Hang on one sec. I think so.
5 is 6,500, I think.
It is. 750, you said?
Yep.
I did. I leveled up.
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
Marmaduke.
All right. Well, we didn't get to the keep. We're working on that.
Yep.
So maybe next session.
Mm-hmm.
Win back the party's trust. I'm still working on it.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll
yeah, you were helpful this time. So
that'll be ×7 when I finally get it.
I think if he was being confronted, Donan would trust Marmaduke. He understands
mostly
Marmaduke's
it's
motivations.
Erastus
it's mostly
and-
Erastus, I think, at this
and
point.
maybe Carly, because I haven't had much
so-
interaction.
You spent a large amount of this session talking about becoming the god of death, so
He thinks that's the best thing for Ulrich, and Ulrich has not told me to stop.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying it's not helping.
Yeah. And then serve my master, which
You
feel
didn't
like
make
I
a
did.
roll on at all this session. So,
Yeah.
For what?
Everything I did was for Connor.
You can't just blanket statement. Everything I did was for Connor.
Yeah,
Give me an
fixed
example.
I fixed the guy for Connor, cast my spell, and then I did all the
You
I
fixed the
fixed
guy?
his feeble mind.
Yeah.
It wasn't for Connor necessarily.
Yeah, it was.
Guys, what do you think, guys?
Everything I've done since being enchanted has been for Connor. Everything.
I mean, I feel like if he has to deal with that, I feel like it's worth it. I don't know.
So
I'll give him
I
working on
think-
XP for it.
Yeah.
I think that if we were to give him XP for this session for that goal, he would get to pick a different goal for next session.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, we have
Fine
a
with
I think like that can't be this easily farmable.
Okay,
At that
I'm fine
point,
with it.
like
I mean,
you get to be more. I feel like I would maybe
Yeah, no, I think I agree with
Like,
that. Let's
maybe more
mean-
specific. I would like to
right, because that's what
I
I'm
like to be
thinking, right?
specific
Like,
with my goals. I guess it's
Yeah.
Caleb's call. I really shouldn't
yeah,
be
so
suggesting
my
things like this.
what I'm saying, what I'm thinking, and I go with what you're saying there. For me, it's like sacrificially in some way, right? Serve my master Ulrich. That wasn't and it has to be direct, right? Like that wasn't directly for Ulrich. Ulrich didn't ask you to do something. You had to take a challenge to overcome it. Ulrich wasn't in danger, and you had to protect him. Those are the things that I'm thinking
That's
about with
fair,
that,
yeah.
right? So you get 500 XP though for the other ones.
Okay.
Lisig? I can't hear you.
But can you
Oh,
hear me
now I can. Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's weird. My mic was right under me, but
Hmm.
steal something at Erastus's keep, but we haven't gotten there yet.
You're working
So,
on it though.
Yeah.
You guys are working on getting there.
And earn the Aaron's forgiveness. Haven't really worked.
I have an idea for that next time. We'll get to that
Okay.
next time. Yeah.
And then get back what was stolen from me. I did make a roll to see if I can make out if Erastus was really talking about Osmond Gage. Would that count towards?
Yeah,
that?
certainly.
Okay.
Yep. So 500 for you. I like that conversation that we got to have with Urlo. He's a character I've had in the background, like as a thing that I knew was going to happen for a long time now. So yeah, you can maybe help him not be a were-rat anymore. That'd be cool. But yeah, thanks Connor and Carly for being good sports about being in the background this session. We'll make sure
I did a lot of sketching.
make sure we rotate the spotlight.
Yeah.
Make sure everybody has a chance to do stuff. But yeah, like I loved just hearing Josh, David, and Jared talk about metaphysics and plans, and I'm so glad that we're back doing this. I enjoyed it. So, but I think that is about it for our session. Now that I'm thinking about it, are you guys free next Friday? Because the 17th, we're going to be in Atlanta.
I have the next few Fridays off.
Would we be good if we did next Friday too?
I need to check my calendar because I might have a commitment. I don't
That's
have a
nice.
commitment.
Okay, cool. Connor? You
Yeah,
free?
I'm done.
Next Friday?
Yeah.
I would believe so, but I'd have to check with Mickey.
Well, sounds good. Everybody just go ahead and like try to keep their schedules free then, and we'll plan on the 10th. Sounds good. We can get back to this sooner than I hoped. And there's so many threads in this campaign.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I definitely had some more ideas about things that are happening based on a lot of your great suggestions. So thank you very, very much.
I was gonna say, I think I saw you using the thing we talked about earlier, in regards to Laughlin.
Oh yeah, I mean obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you had the goal. One of the things that I did there, right, is we obviously had to see that happening because nobody had cast Gentle Repose.
Right.
And that's the undead.
Well,
are
and
just
also it
coming
wouldn't
back.
have been a goal because I didn't have to do anything except for now. I think it's probably going to. I think I'm going to earn that experience.
Right, and so the thing is, I didn't have you like roll anything to fight him because it wouldn't have been a non-challenge. But what I did instead was give you a person who wanted to look at the body, and you persuaded him not to, and then buried it anyway. So and that, so I gotta say, that literally came right after the moment where I was like, you can just kill him, it's just the zombie. And then I realized, oh, you have a goal about this. I need to challenge you in some way. And I was like, oh, random guy. And then I was like, oh, this is Osmond Gage. That's awesome.
Well, and I think I know what you did with like the reason. Well, maybe probably not the whole reason, but I think I kind of know the reason why he showed up. So I'm interested to see if I'm right.
Oh yeah, no, I'm starting to develop the reason now. And at first it was just like, I don't know why this guy's here, but but I'm excited we got to see Osmond Gage for the first time.
Yeah.
Because he was different than I expected him to be, and I liked that. So.
And I got to be dumb and not realize it.
Yeah.
This is what I love about this whole process, is being able to debrief a little bit about it and realize that you're meeting these characters just the same as we are.
Oh yeah. Certainly. I didn't know how Erlo was going to act until I just started playing him. I knew he liked cooking. That's all I knew. And he was a rat. And then I just was like, let's make up stuff about Leasig and Erlo's past. And that was fun.
Yeah, that was really good. On the subject of the lycanthropy thing, I looked it up, and a dispel magic spell can cure lycanthropy because it is a curse. Also, that's super easy, so maybe you want to change that. But technically, that's a thing.
No, yeah.
So that means that Jared could cure him if he wanted.
Yeah.
Yay.
Another thing to keep.
They just have to be like, "Hey, Ulrich, tell Jared to fix the rat."
And also, we may not know enough about lycanthropy to make that connection.
That's true.
I thought
you probably have to make an Arcana check.
Actually,
well, good thing I have 3 luck points.
But Marmaduke also is an expert on curses, so.
Oh, I mean, I guess that's fair.
Yeah. But yeah, cool. Yeah, good stuff. I'm excited to see where the threads lead you guys. Lots of fun stuff happening in the background. Especially, there's been a lot of stuff that happened this session and has been talked about this session that is very present and an important part of Ternullius. And so, Carly knows all about that stuff.
I need to make time to watch that.
You should though.
Yeah,
it's so good, dude.
It is.
It is. Arguably, I think it is the best campaign I have ever run, and I don't say that to minimize you guys. It's just
I'm hurt.
I have never
It's
played
worthy
anything
of that
like
title,
Terra
though.
Nullius.
At least of all the ones that I've witnessed.
It's just so good. Yeah, phenomenal cast on that show. We've had a lot of fun with it, and I think it works so well because we've been able to be so consistent with it that it's just easy to just build up a story.
Ooh, wow,
very...
and he's hitting us too.
No, it's just the way that things work sometimes.
I'm not hearing a good, bad, right, or wrong here. I'm hearing straight facts, but I need to go watch this.
You should.
I have an idea about that, but if we're still streaming, I don't want to bring it up.
Yeah, no, I'll go ahead and.
I started listening to it, and I can only listen to it on audio, so I have to convert it to an MP3 file or whatever. But one of the players, at least in the beginning, their mic is really soft, and someone else's mic is kind of loud, and so I it hurts my ears, and then I can't hear, and then
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if it probably got better at some point. I'm sure. But
one of the things that we're planning on doing with Terranolius, and this is honestly a thing that I want to maybe eventually do with everything, all of these shows, as a cool thing to think about in the future, is to make all of them into podcasts that are actually like somewhat edited.
Yeah,
right,
cool.
like edit all out the
Especially
and
because of
the
how
audio
much
levels and all that stuff.
stuff you say.
Yeah, and then have it almost be like sort of audio drama-ish too, right? Like to have some music in the background, have sound effects
Okay,
at
I
various
like this
points,
idea.
that sort of thing, right?
Really cool.
That's a thing that I've been kind of having in the background for a while now. So that is kind of in the works. I mainly it's just me trying to decide what to start with, which show to start with, and how much time I can actually put into something like that, whether or not I can delegate some of that to other people. Anyway, that's the
Pick a
whole thing in
one-shot.
process.
Could
That's
pick
true.
one of the one
That's a
shots
great
that we
idea,
do. You could just
actually.
Practice. Yeah.
okay, everybody, open Audacity. You're gonna record your own audio today, or something similar, and then
Yeah.
that gives you options.
Oh, you know what I should do? I should make a podcast version of that one Apocalypse World one shot we did.
Oh yeah, that was really good.
Yeah.
Because, I
Talking
mean,
about
the
the one
thing
with
about-
Arya.
Yes, Arya.
Yeah, because audio dramas are best when they're dramatic. I mean, not always, but like it's good when they have really good.
Audio dramas are
emotional-
best when they're dramatic.
Yeah, when they have
That's a key
emotional
part of
punch
that,
to them.
yeah.
Also,
And
by the
that
way, people
are-
die when they're dead.
It's true. Right, they do.
You guys, wow. You guys are so smart.
But yeah, no, that's a great idea, Josh. I'm glad you suggested that. Yeah. A one shot would be a great starting point for that. And yeah, I think that would be a good one. I also need to finish that screenplay that I started based on that
that's
one
right.
shot. I've just remembered that. I would read that again.
Which was I in this one shot or not?
No, it was David, Carly, and Jared. That's all it was.
Okay.
It was probably my favorite one shot we've ever done.
I think it was some of the most hard, like on the spot brainstorming I've seen you do. Like to try and take all of the random crap that we threw at you and make something coherent out of it in like 20 minutes at the
I
end.
don't know how I did it.
Yeah. I remember you being like super burned out afterwards and talking
Yep.
about how like hard you were racking your brain to like try and pull it all
Every
together.
time we went to a break, I'd just be like, all right, how did any of that make sense?
Yep.
Like, I remember us ending at a break at one point, and it was just like, you're about to get a vision. And I was just like, okay, what is that even going to be about? What's going on? Yeah. Anyway,
It
Yep.
was good.
lots of fun stuff in store for 2020. Those sorts of fun projects, products too. In addition to a continued presence on Twitch here. And also, there's another thing I want to talk to you guys about after we finish the stream related to Anno Domini as well. Okay, we're out. See you guys.
Bye.